A ninja was a covert agent or mercenary in feudal Japan. The functions of the ninja included espionage, sabotage, infiltration, assassination, and guerrilla warfare. Their covert methods of waging irregular warfare were deemed dishonorable and beneath the samurai caste, who observed strict rules about honor and combat. The shinobi proper, a specially trained group of spies and mercenaries, appeared in the 15th century during the Sengoku period, but antecedents may have existed in the 14th century and possibly in the 12th century. By the time of the Meiji Restoration in 1868, the tradition of the shinobi had become a topic of popular imagination and mystery in Japan. Ninja figured prominently in legend and folklore, where they were associated with legendary abilities, such as invisibility, walking on water, and control over the natural elements. As a consequence, their perception in popular culture is often based on such legend and folklore, rather than on the spies of the Sengoku period. Hello there, heroes. I am the Orange Ranger. The script for this review was written on January 21st, 2016, after watching Return of the Prism for the first time. It is being presented with as few alterations as possible in order to the extent possible, present the review as it was originally completed. Viewer discretion is not advised. Can you hear us smell that? Oh, yep. That is the unmistakable aroma that can only be called new team smell. We bid our mostly fond farewells to the Dino Charge Rangers, but it is now time to welcome the 20th team of Power Rangers to the stage. Will they successfully strike from the shadows or fall off the roof very loudly? It's time to find out in my review of the first episode of Power Rangers Ninja Steel, Return of the Prism. Here is my now standard every 2-year new Sentai adaptation disclaimer. Yes, I have seen all of Ninja. Okay, maybe not that girls versus boys nonsense or whatever it was, but I have seen most of Ninja. There are going to be things hinted at in Ninja Steel that I know what they're leading to thanks to the Sentai footage. But again, for the most part, I review Power Rangers strictly as Power Rangers. For example, do I know why the Ninja Nexus star contains 6 power stars? Yes, of course I do. However, just like the show, I'm going to hold some of those cards back and react to things that happen on Power Rangers. 10 years ago, in the long, distant age of 2007, presumably while the Overdrive Rangers were fighting Furious and Moltor, though of course we can't make any assumptions about that, a large star called the Ninja Nexus Prism fell to Earth. It happened to land in the backyard of a man who was an American ninja. Not an American ninja warrior, just an American ninja. The man, who also seems to have been rather handy, removes the outer casing of the star, revealing the Ninja Nexus Prism itself. Inside is the Ninja Nexus star, which he's able to reach inside and take. But outside, monsters approach the house. Hearing one of his sons, Brody, call out, he gives the casing metal, which he calls Ninja Steel, to his other son, Aiden, and tells him to hide it. And by the by, the mother of these children must be from New Zealand, if their accents are any indication. The head monster demands the Nexus Star and shoots at the ninja. He blocks the beam with the Nexus Star, and is morphed into a Red Ranger. One of the other monsters, Madame Odious, says, "The legends are true. He's become a Power Ranger." He fights the main monster, who we learn is named Galvanax, but isn't a match for him and gets demorphed. Galvanax takes the Nexus Star and begins absorbing its power. Insert title sequence here, but in what I think was actually a pretty nice move, Saban Brands distributed the title sequence to the Power Force a few hours before the episode aired and had them distributed out to everyone so that fans of the show could take this in separately. I like the new theme song. It's a more energetic rock tune than Dino Charge had, but I do have two major gripes. One, Go Go Power Rangers, which we do get again, yes, feels painfully forced into this song. It actually feels like this theme song was written without it, and then they went back and rewrote it to shove it in. The other is that there's this kind of weird note or pause between Go Go Power Rangers and Ninja Steel. I can't even tell if it's really a word. It kind of sounds like go, but whatever it is, it's just a touch awkward musically. Back over with the American Ninja Warrior, he gets his second wind and attacks Galvanax again, actually hitting the Ninja Nexus Star and splitting it into 6 convenient pieces. He vanishes when this happens, with the Ninja Nexus Prism itself taking his place. It reabsorbs the pieces, and they don't recombine into one Ninja Nexus Star, but turn into 6 separate Ninja Power Stars. Yes, 6, including a gold one, a nice little hint for us right off the bat. Galvanax tries to break the prism, but he can't, so he just takes the whole thing, and also takes Brody prisoner. And it turns out that this was all an expository flashback that Brody was having. 10 years later, he's still on Galvanax's ship, along with a red robot friend named Redbot, from the people who named Getbot. Brody tells Redbot that he wants to get back to Earth and look for his missing brother Aiden, and Redbot says that one day they will. He also talks to an engineer named Mick about trying to escape the ship before they're interrupted by the other monster we saw on Earth, Ripcon. Mick hides from Ripcon by turning into a mop. Apparently he's a shapeshifter. Brody protects Redbot from Ripcon by talking about how he's a ninja and playing a trick on Ripcon. Ripcon responds by teasing Brody about his dearly departed ninja father. Madame Odious interrupts this by telling the two that it's time for the show to begin. The show? Haven't we been watching the show? No, heroes. This is a show within a show. Galvanax's ship is called the Warrior Dome, and it hosts the intergalactic reality game show Galaxy Warriors. On Galaxy Warriors, 2 warriors compete in a battle to the death for a chance to reach inside the Nexus Prism to try to take one of the Ninja Power Stars. The show is hosted by the Natalie-dressed debutante Cosmo Royale. And that's where things get really interesting. Old Cosmo here is inspired by a Sentai, but it's not a ninja. Most of Cosmo's suit comes from a Tokuger villain, Baron Nero. Now, did I just say most of his suit? That's right, I did. They changed the face. It's like he's outfitted by Tokuger fashions. The suit is exactly the same as Baron Nero's, he just has a different face. But that's actually not the only creative use of monster suits we're going to see in this episode. Let's take a look at today's challengers. In this corner, hailing from the RPM dimension, give it up for Venjix Mark 1. And in this corner, hailing from the very season taking place 10 years before this one, Operation Overdrive, give it up for Mig the Fear Cat. In all seriousness, they give both of these characters new names. I didn't really catch Venjix's, but Mig the Fear Cat's name is Korvaca, and honest to goodness, he's the champion of the Ninja Galaxy. They did not waste 1 second of time this year. The two of them get transported to some kind of battle dimension, or maybe a planet below, or something, it's not really clear, with Galvanax telling his grunts, called Kudabots, to put the signal from tiny little bug cameras called buzz cams on the screen. This intense, drawn-out battle for the ages lasts a grand total of 13 seconds, with Korvaca the Fear Cat winning through. He takes his shot at taking one of the ninja power stars, but while he's able to reach inside the prism, it ultimately rejects him. Galvanax loses patience with this plan since it's been 10 years without success, but Madame Odious gives him a new one. According to her spies, the Ninja Nexus Prism arrived on Earth covered in a metal called Ninja Steel, and that Ninja Steel can apparently be forged into brand new power stars. Galvanax immediately orders a course set to Earth. Brody and his friends overhear this and realize that they now have to escape the ship and get to Earth, since Brody's brother Aiden was the one who hid the Ninja Steel. Coming out of the following commercial break, Nick very helpfully informed me that I was watching Power Rangers Dino Charge! Not even Supercharge, Dino Charge. Except, I'm not. And you know the only thing worse than this? This happened twice. On Earth, we see a magician awkwardly getting off a school bus and asking people to come to his magic show. We see a guy working on a truck with the help of a girl who has a dog. And we also see a girl flying to school on a hoverboard. Just roll with it, all the rest of the students do. Meanwhile, as the Warrior Dome arrives at Earth, Brody and his friends start their escape plan, but they get caught by Kudabots and things change. A good chunk of this episode actually focuses on Sarah, the girl driving the hoverboard, who's a new student at Summer Cove High School. And yes, we are back to high schoolers as the Power Rangers. It's not really something that's worth discussing right now. Anyway, she's immediately set upon by something of an odd couple of high school students. A nerdy boy named Monty and his domineering, kind of bullying jock partner, Victor Vincent. Victor starts hitting on Sarah right away, showing off all his trophies in the trophy case, and then tries to show off by driving her hoverboard, but he can't control it. He runs into the magician, whose name is Preston, although I don't think it's actually mentioned in this episode, and takes out his magic act just after he had changed into a blue dragon costume, also revealing that washboard abs are apparently a genetic trait of the Sudarso family. Sarah tells Victor off for being an idiot, but Monty snottily says that it's probably the first time anyone's ever been entertained by one of his shows, which is a fact that Preston sadly confirms. But nobody worry about Sarah's hoverboard, though. She's built that thing to be as strong and as fast as a freight train. You don't say. Back up on the ship. Saying that brings back some memories. Ripcon is chasing after Brody Tachi, who toss themselves and the Prism into the ship's garbage chute and dump it. Redbot catches Brody and is able to save him, and Mick turns into a rock, or maybe some kind of a ball, I don't really know. Anyway, Sarah and Preston see all of this stuff crashing down towards Earth and decide to go investigate, though Preston is nervous about it. As Galvanax sends Korvaca after the Ninja Steel and the Ninja Nexus Prism, Brody and Redbot take stock of their situation. They have made it to Earth. They are safe, and they are finally free. However, Mick is missing. As Brody goes to hide the Nexus Prism, Korvaca attacks. He's no match for the monster at first, but that's when Sarah and Preston show up and smack into him on Sarah's hoverboard, knocking him out for a while. As Sarah and Preston wonder what the heck is going on here, Brody realizes that over in the Prism, 3 of the Ninja Power Stars are now glowing. Brody reaches into the Prism and is able to take the red Ninja Power Star. So Sarah and Preston do the same thing and take the pink and blue Power Stars. And then... oh boy guys, here we go. You knew I was going to rant about this one. Brody says that he remembers his dad taking the Nexus Power Star and then becoming some kind of ninja superhero. He thinks they called it a Power Ranger? Sarah says, a Power Ranger? Why? Especially in an episode that uses old monster suits that purposefully remind us of past seasons. It's the exact same thing that I said 2 years ago. When you start the season with the Rangers not knowing what Power Rangers are, it means one of two things. Either one, we're getting another set of seasons that are not in the mainline continuity, or two, these Rangers are the biggest pack of unobservant doofuses in the world who've not been paying any attention, as at least 6 evil villain factions have tried to take over the world and been stopped by the Power Rangers. Hey, speaking of Dino Charge, here's something else that was inspired by it. Brody strikes a fight pose, and his morpher just appears out of thin air. Ah, script writing in the "a wizard did it" style. I mean, at least in Mighty Morphin, a wizard actually did it. I will be fine with this if it is somehow explained later on. But think about this, heroes. In 2 seasons of Dino Charge, did they ever bother to explain where their morphers and weapons came from? Nope, not that I can think of. Just like Magic, Preston says, because as it turns out, Magic is like his informed character attribute. That is not a good explanation. I know at the beginning of this video I made a big point of saying that I review Power Rangers just as Power Rangers, but this is one point that is worth mentioning. The Ninja Steel morpher is not the morpher that the Ninjas used to morph. Ninja Steel decided to change that. Now, it's not an original morpher like Jungle Fury. This is in the Ninja, but they only used it as a team weapon, not as their morpher. Their morpher was their swords. Now, I'm not sure why that change was made. If anybody knows, you can let me know down in the comments. But it's a thing that happened. So Sarah and Preston also get their morphers straight out of thin air. The other thing that Brody's dad did to morph was to get shot with a beam. Helpfully, Korvaca fires a beam at the 3 and they are morphed. You know, I was thinking, it would be really funny if throughout this season, the Rangers did have to get shot with a beam to actually morph. Maybe one day Galvanax sends down a monster that doesn't use beam weapons. He only has swords or something. And either they can't morph at all, or they have to shoot at each other. Nice little touch here. Inside the Rangers' helmets, they are wearing ninja masks. I just thought that was a nice little detail to include. So anyway, the 3 Rangers fight the Fear Cat with insults about bad breath and plenty of puns, because the more Power Rangers changes, the more it stays the same. The Rangers then pull out ninja blasters, which look like frogs, and they shoot the monster, and he blows up. Well, that was anticlimactic. The Rangers bury the Prism under a large pile of rocks because nobody's going to be able to find it under this entirely out-of-place pile of rocks. Absolutely inconspicuous. Great job, guys. Brody wants to handle things on his own, but Sarah and Preston are committed to being a team now, the Power Rangers. In fact, Preston kind of feels like maybe the whole world might be relying on them now. How he drew that conclusion after fighting one monster who had a very specific goal is kind of a mystery, but it was a nice "we're a team now" moment. Brody says their next step is to go back to his childhood home to look for his missing brother Aiden. At the mention of Aiden's name, the Nexus Prism suddenly springs to life, breaking free of its laughably inadequate hiding place, and flies away. And the 3 Rangers have to follow it. It does contain 3 more Ninja Power Stars. I think, considering the theme of this season, the item that I've chosen for the new scoring system is kind of beyond obvious. So let's go ahead and tie on some bandanas. Alright, I'm kidding. Let's fling Ninja Stars. Episode 1, Return of the Prism. Prose, a creative original story with extensive original footage. The Rangers seem to have fun and distinct personalities, and creative use of old monster suits as new characters. Cons, the what are Power Rangers implication of another new timeline, morphers that once again appear from nowhere, and subpar voice work on the bad guys. Take the script for powers from the past, find dinosaurs, and replace it with ninjas. Return of the Prism gets 3 Ninja Stars out of 5. So, just like Dino Charge, and that's a phrase you might want to get used to hearing this season, by the way, we start out with a wholly original story that uses entirely original footage. It's kind of a fun story, too. The whole ninjas and space thing seems a little goofy at first, but the story makes sense when you break it down to a very general level. A warrior from space found a power source that happens to be based on ninjas and wants it for himself. That doesn't really explain why ninja powers came from space themselves, but I'm hoping we'll find out. Early on, we get fairly distinctive looks at each of the Rangers' personalities, which means at this point they're pretty well written. Brody is heroic and brave and friendly, but he's also a bit impulsive and kind of sensitive about his past. Sarah is friendly and kind, but also has a mean streak when you piss her off. Preston is sort of dorky and obsessed with magic, but willing to overcome his fear to help his friends. Now we know the guy and the girl that were working on the truck are going to factor into things, but that's for another episode. And between Cosmo Royale having the same tailor as Baron Nero and Benjix vs. Mig, we got to see old monster suits used in a creative fashion again. We saw old monster suits during the Dino Charge seasons too. It indicates the staff is willing to dig through the closet a bit and find some things that they can use creatively. And another thing that struck me is, while Dino Charge's first monster came from the Sentai, Ninja's first monster didn't. Korvaca is not from Ninja. So maybe in the future we'll get more original monsters. However, just like Dino Charge, we are pointed at yet another set of seasons that do not take place in the main timeline continuity because nobody so far knows what a Power Ranger is. As a matter of fact, the only character that's even remotely aware of what a Power Ranger is Madame Odious, who knows about a legend. And the fact that the Power Rangers are only referenced in a legend does not bode well for mainline continuity. And just like Dino Charge, the Ninja Steel Morphers come from the Gosei school of just because, so here. As a matter of fact, I actually happen to have my red Ninja Power Star right here. So, from what I saw on the show, all I have to do is I hold it out right in front of me here, and then I strike a fight pose.
There's a simple explanation for that.
Hey! Neat! The Morphers should be amazing technological devices that have a lot of research and development that goes into them. Or at least amazing magical devices that have a lot more grandeur attached to them. It shouldn't just be, poof, cool! And just like, well no, actually I don't remember Dino Charge having this problem. The voice work on the villains definitely needs some, well, work. Galvanax's generic gravelly monster voice. And Ripcon is kind of generic gravelly monster voice number 2. Only Madame Odious has a distinct voice, and really that's just because she's female. It's not that big of a deal most of the time, but in these early episodes, the bad guys are saying the names of things for the first time, and it's kind of hard to make them out. So overall, this episode gets an average score because really, it feels like more of the same. This episode was everything that was wonderful and everything that was frustrating about Dino Charge. And since I consider Dino Charge and Dino Supercharge to be two good but not great seasons, I can't be overly encouraged by that. The best that I can say at this point is, not bad. Well, Ninja Steel has officially started its 2-year run with 3 Rangers. It's time to see how 2 more will join the team. Let's take a look at what happens in the second episode of Ninja Steel, Forged in Steel. Alright, just kidding. You guys already know what happened in Forged in Steel. I've already reviewed it. On the 5th episode of Ninja Steel, Drive to Survive, when the Power Rangers are caught in a spiderweb prison of Galvanax's latest monster, Tangleweb, Calvin must conquer his fear to unlock a new power and save them. That is going to wrap up my first Power Rangers Ninja Steel episode review, and I'd like to thank all you heroes so much for watching and for joining me as I start this journey, my 4th season of reviewing Power Rangers. Make sure to like the video by clicking that like button right down below. Let me know what you thought of this debut episode and of my debut review of it in the comments down below. Make sure to subscribe to the channel to see all the Weekly Geekly, and also make sure that you ring that bell icon so you get notified of when I post new videos. And, as I say every week, if you happen to have a couple of dollars lying around you don't have anything else to do with, you can head over to my channel page, click that blue support button, and I would really appreciate it. Until next time, heroes, May the power protect you. Reviewer Jutsu, teleport out. So they could distribute it. It's a more energetic rock tune than Dino Charge had. Brody protects and playing a trip. Might have worked. Matt farts, and it hosts the intergalactic game show. I'll say reality game show, yeah. Ripcon is chasing after Brody Tachi, who toss themselves and the Prism into the ship's garbage chute and dump it. Redbot, hey, speaking of Dino Charge, here's another inspiration from it. I can't look at the computer while... And between Cosmo Royale having the same tailor as Baron Nero and Venjix vs. Mig, we got to see some old monster suits used. Now, it's not an original morpher for... Yeah, that worked. Galvanax is generic grilling. Well, Ninja Steel has officially started its 2-year run. Until next time, Rangers, may the power... farts. Of all the places to screw that up. That is going to wrap up my first Power Rangers... I want to make sure... That is going to wrap up my first Power Rangers Ninja Steel episode review. I'd like to thank you guys so much for watching and join... That is going to wrap up my first Power Rangers Ninja Steel episode review. I'd like to think... That sounded weird.